Ooh,
Ooh.
I felt that.
Ha 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 ha. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Karsten.
Nice to
How are
see
you
you.
doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very, very fine,
But
but I have a very, very good sense and feeling for why woolly mammoths died when it got warmer. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's the weather where fat people melt. And
absolutely.
yeah.
But you know that we have some sort of an anniversary today?
Is it
No,
number from?
no, not so much, not so much, not so much, but we have a byte.
Oh, it's the Byte version,
The Byte Edition.
the Byte edition.
And you know what is, oh, that's the wrong picture. You know what is the Byte Edition?
Yeah, I mean it determines how old you are. When I was a kid, we already had 64-bit.
I
But hey, no,
did
yeah,
not.
8 byte. Oh, oh,
Oh, oh, oh, oh, damn it, really? Is that what you say in the morning? Is that how you start your day? Because I know that you just got up.
yeah. In the mornings, I drink a big old cup of mean, and when I'm done drinking a big old cup of mean, I do internet shows. That's kind of how I roll.
Ah,
What's
welcome
this?
to the eighth. You know what? I just showed a five and you showed a three. To the eighth edition of.
open.clouds.dev.
There you have it. And
Oh,
who's
that feels good.
presenting that one?
Oh, is it that time again? The
It is
cloud
that time.
report, cloud report, sponsoring open.clouds.dev.
Oh, you are so an artist.
Right, right, right.
But I still miss some enthusiasm
Enthusiasm in
in singing.
what form?
In singing, I feel like you could have done that a little bit more enthusiastic.
Yeah, I mean, I can, but maybe the only negative feedback I've gotten so far is the jingle, but I'll do it again. The cloud report, the cloud report, sponsoring the openclouds.dev.
Thank you. That was the end of the show.
Freestyle. So, talking about computers.
What? What? Why should we?
Yeah, because
You know what we
all these
talk about up
clouds,
front.
all this cloud stuff we use today is basically the great 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 grandfather of the computer.
And you know what? Like 45 years and roughly today is the 28th. 13 days ago, the world's first computer store opened.
That's
What did you say about that? I just found a German article, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I read that article, and basically, the fascinating thing about computers and the picture, if you don't scroll, if you just leave the picture there for a second, actually the computers that this guy sold, wow, what an adventure. It was a switchboard with a couple of LEDs attached to it, and it cost about like 4 or 5 thousand bucks,
Oh yeah.
which would be astronomical, like 50,000 euros in today's
Although
money.
although although the computer that is currently visible here is an Altair 8800, which was about 400 or 500 bucks back then, and it was the first affordable computer. You were absolutely right. The initial ones actually were about 5 times, 10 times that much. And that was around the time when another company started business called Bananas. No, Vanilla. No, 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 no. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Apple.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what their first computer looked like?
Yeah, like that one. It was a
Exactly, exactly,
Steve
exactly.
Wozniak for the win, because that didn't have a lot to do with what's he called, Steve Jobs, but it was
Absolutely.
actually his mastermind. But what's so fascinating about this is, this guy had a mission.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because he went out there and said like, wow, I'm seeing computing as a thing that
And I want to sell that stuff.
well, it wasn't so much. I don't really think that his primary motivation was I want to sell that stuff and make a lot of money. That was part two, but it was actually making end user computing affordable.
Yeah,
That's this awesome mission, because we've had this again and again and again. I remember when I paid my own first money from my job in the holidays for a
Last week.
computer. Was the moment when
It was last week, wasn't it?
What?
Last week.
Yeah. Felt like working at a strip club.
Oh, wait. Wait, that was my first holiday. Wait, no.
But all jokes aside, the thing was, I do remember, we had just broken the barrier of gigahertz computing, and any processor that could do a gigahertz was just awfully expensive, but it was awesome to have, and breaking it back down to 45 years ago with that guy, you didn't even have a powerful machine, but it was so awesome that he figured like, hey, how can I bring this to the homes of many people and make their work easier? And I don't know how far he fought on from that. We didn't have any apps. There wasn't an operating system. There wasn't all
there
this
were books already available.
So yeah, 45 years ago. Wow. I remember it as if it was yesterday. We have sound effects now. That's a rush.
That is an awesome picture. And for the guys just listening to our podcast, should have bought yourself a computer monitor.
Well, yeah, we're talking about old school technology, so yeah, listening is also an option.
Yeah, and do you see that specific thing there on the lower right bottom? That is awesome. Should have seen that. Yeah, that is history.
So are those photos kind of your formative years and your first jobs, or what was that? Where did you get these pictures from? It never gets old, does it? Oh, well, let's get back to IT. So, 45 years ago, a computer looked like that. And imagine what happened within these 45 years. I'm sitting here in front of a laptop. We have these little computers in our pocket. We have a multitude more of power. We're talking about all this cloud stuff. We're talking about serverless, computerless. It's all just an app floating around. And isn't it amazing to see how fast, or, just how light speed fast the innovation and generally just the development with IT, with computers went. That stumps me as wow every time I think about it. No?
I'm always impressed if somebody is on fire.
Yes, computers. My first computer I was allowed to use when I was a real small kid was an Apple II.
No, you're joking.
An Apple II. I'm not joking. My dad, when he came to Germany as kind of, a job next to his Siemens job he had, was importing and selling Apple machines.
Which one was it?
The big clunky one. Wait, do they have it there? Yeah, kind of bottom left corner.
That one?
No, the one next to it.
That
Left.
one?
Yeah.
Ooh. It's an
yeah, and
Apple
that,
II Plus.
that was awesome. 2 floppy disks, like piracy wasn't
Ooh.
really a topic back then. Everybody was just copying stuff to everywhere.
Ooh.
Manual Napster, manual App Store.
This one
Oh, wow.
was my first one. A Robotron KC85 2. And then later on, I had an 85 4. Looks awesome, isn't it?
Crazy. What did you do with it?
Basically, frankly, playing games. Those ones were able to interpret BASIC, so you could write your own games. There were some. We basically swapped some stuff around. Frankly, I was quite young back then, so that was not such an active thing, but it's always impressive. No, the computer I got really into it.
Oh, yeah.
Was that one, and specifically the second edition, that one, with the more modern kind of housing, the Commodore 64.
It was nuts when we were able to go away from monochrome to colors. That was just...
I loved that one. Later on, I had that one. Atari, what was it? 1040 STFM. I had that one. An Atari. No, that's the wrong color. An
So
Atari.
you were one of those rich kids, huh? Having a
No,
lot of
no, no,
different
no. I
things.
bought those ones. I bought those ones used all the time. And then I obviously had that one.
Amiga. I think that's, where computing and playing games got really, really commercial. That was the breakthrough.
And a little later, I had that one. With a hard disk. 20
Oh,
megabytes hard disk drive. That was middle of the actually end of the 90s. I wasn't able to afford one before Commodore went bankrupt. And now I'm using that one. Like, yes. Two
wow.
Xeon processors, 32 gigs of RAM,
Oh.
1 terabyte
See,
SSD.
I'm already really modern. I'm serverless, computerless, See me? I can... Woo! I don't have a computer. I'm just there. I'm on the screen. Clouds. Cloud technology.
And I'm totally aware of your most beloved Linux distribution, which is Geckolinux, right? Isn't it?
That's disappointing now. That steals credibility points.
Why? Why?
Because
Is Geckolinux 152 too good for you?
No, but the point is Geckolinux is not my favorite distro, but open.SUSE Leap is my favorite Linux distro.
Really?
And Geckolinux distro is built on open.SUSE Leap. So kind of what you said was true, but also not.
Yeah, but Chris, let's be honest and let's face it. You are the target audience for Geckolinux.
Exactly. That's very, very true, because so to explain it to our viewers, what the guys at Geckolinux did, or the community behind it, so kudos to them, is
absolutely. If we make our jokes about that, that's just because we feel like being part of the community and not for like bashing the community, right?
Yeah, I mean, all in good fun. Have you ever been in a chat room, in a video chat with a lot of developers? We are angels. Oh, look, if I go like this, it looks as if I'm holding a rainbow. Oh, wrong hand. Okay, no. So coming back to Geckolinux, the great thing about Geckolinux is they used the standard OpenSUSE Leap, and what they did is they built their own installation media, their own ISOs from OpenSUSE Leap. And what they did there is they have a flavor for everything.
Yeah.
You know, you want, it doesn't matter which desktop you want. They have presets for certain apps you might want. They have a preset for a work computer, for a development computer. They also have a Geckolinux rolling distribution, which is
based on Tumbleweed.
But what they are doing there, and you know, I don't think they get a lot of attention, but they should, is, you know, they're doing what the big ass computer corporations are doing. They're basically taking the same principle we've always had, operating system, you know, something to point and click around on your computer, but they're making it easy to use, and they're giving you different flavors to choose from. So basically, it's kind of, you know, like the App Store. What do I want? Download it, boom, shoot, click, install, done, it's there. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Are you having a cardiac arrest? That's no joke, man. So the point being, of what are you trying to tell me?
I'm just saying that is basically a lot of the same principle as Ubuntu, for example, with its different flavors, brings onto the table, which by no means is a bad idea. Absolutely not. And I'm quite open. I did not know about Geckolinux before. I used OpenSUSE, and I figured, RPMs, love them. Mr. SUSE Press Manager, and I never heard of Geckolinux before, and I'm quite happy I discovered that news, because I feel like that is something I want to try out, because what I quite often say and what I quite often missed is basically an approachable way to Linux. That is something that is not there. I mean, frankly,
I mean, you know, Karsten, you're a, as you just showed, you're an Apple user, a Mac user, so yeah, you might want a really, really easy to use, easy to handle operating system. You're not used to a lot of computing.
Did you just call me again a fanboy?
Yeah. Well, not so much a fanboy, but a loser user. An Apple user. I mean, what's there more to say? A Mac user.
Is that an iPhone?
That's, you know.
Does that look like an iPhone to you?
You know, the thing is, when the steak on my plate is done, I'm also a vegetarian because I eat the vegetables. No, enjoy. At least Geckolinux.
It's going to be a very interesting show. You are stepping up the game a little bit, don't you?
Yes, I try my best.
I like that. Please allow me to put in my AirPods into my ears, because on my ears only Apple certified sounds are allowed to you know, spread the noise, even if it's your noise.
Apple's. So I'm a hardware geek too, but only for musical hardware. So if we're talking about headphones, dear people, use Sennheiser. Oh, I'm not sure if the camera can show it.
Nope,
Sennheiser quality. These are awesome, great headphones.
Dear people, if you want to use a phone on your workplace, use a Fritz phone, because I just had it at hand.
So I knew there were still people out there using landlines. But
Actually, I
there's
just have it
actually,
here. I just
you
have it here
are the
because
one guy.
no,
You
no, no,
are
no,
the
no,
one
no,
guy
no,
who
no,
bought
no,
the Fritz
no,
phone.
no,
That's
no,
just
no, no,
awesome.
no, no. I have it here because I need I use it for getting informed when a fax reaches me, because I'm working with German authorities.
I
And
was
the
just saying,
most
we're in Germany,
modern
so
thing of communications those guys are aware of is a fax. And now, dear children, this is your homework. Find out what a fax is all
yeah.
about.
The problem, in most public German offices is they don't with faxing, that's a little too modern for them because they don't know where to put the paper in the BTX machine. That's how Germany
Yeah,
works.
and it's quite hard to plug in the 9600 baud modem.
Oh well, yay to faxing.
But frankly, I was using what's the English word for acoustic coupler? I was using one of those things, and to all the English.
You mean the
No,
actual
no, 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 don't give him a clue. Don't give him a clue. It's homework for all the native English speakers. Translate acoustic coupler into your favorite native language, and then you know what I started with. And I did that at home with one single landline, which was then blocked for some hours. And my parents actually wondered why nobody called them. And the month after that, they wondered why the telephone bill was so expensive, because back then you had to pay for local calls as well, and it was not cheap. It was a
yeah.
three-figure telephone bill. It was, was a. I had a good time when they discovered it was me.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me a little later, which was when Fritz, that we were talking about, AVM, the company AVN, actually sold network cards with channel bundling. So, out of
For ISDN.
one internet. Yeah, exactly. And, naive as I was, I didn't figure if you have four channels, you have to pay four times the price. So that was awful, but hey, oh well.
Ah, I just did the homework. There is no English word for that. He
But
felt like it was
you know,
Swedish, what I was saying when I said acoustic coupler.
did people in English speaking countries just not connect, or
I don't know. Used translate, and I tried to translate it acoustic coupler. That sounds wrong.
I mean, it could be coupler, coupling, coupler.
Damn it, that's bad. That is bad. That is bad. But we did something for education today.
Oh,
I
yes,
think.
yes, we did. If you want to see one of those things live and in action, please watch the movie Hackers. Yeah, it's a 90s gem.
But by the way, you gave the audience a homework as well, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah, you said BTX.
Oh, yeah.
You could have said datex P.
Oof. Oof. That's, we're a cloud show and not a hardware show. But yeah, I guess,
Sorry.
I
I mean,
guess it's okay.
Shall I rewind a little bit? Because one of your first words were, "Oh, computer are the foundation for cloud." And
True that.
acoustic couplers are the foundation for communication. 1200 baud. That's fast enough.
Yeah.
You could even watch porn or no, download games and pictures.
I downloaded a lot of games back in the day.
I figured you'd say games.
Yeah. That was,
Ah, and
it was,
back in the
it was
day,
awesome. It was awesome playing games with myself all day long. I wouldn't come out of my room for a while when I discovered games.
don't give me ideas. But you just called me again an Apple fanboy,
Yes.
and that is utterly wrong, right?
Yes.
Because I am currently considering buying myself for my personal fun and for my personal freedom this one,
PinePhone.
a PinePhone.
Yes.
You know what this is?
Yeah, it's a telephone with an open source Linux operating system on it.
And all the operating systems that are supported there, and you can see some of them like Sailfish OS, like Ubuntu with UB ports, like Postmarket OS.
Have you seen KDE Mobile built on Plasma 5 Qt framework? That is fucking sweet.
No, have you seen it?
Well, not live and in action, but I've read a lot of good stuff.
Chris, that is awesome. Have you seen it? It is sweet. Have you seen it? No, no, not yet.
So yeah, I mean, I've
You
been
know,
I've been
it's
a
sweet.
KDE user like forever.
You
Like
exactly look like a KDE
yeah,
user,
when
really.
when when I was taught Linux, there's basically the guy here, Dobie. Hi, Dobie. Haven't seen you in like 20 years, but when I started using Linux, there was just one thing they said, that's a no-go. Don't do it. Don't go there, and that was use GNOME because GNOME is evil. And so
Who
I
says
know it
that?
is in the meantime. GNOME is also awesome. 2020, it's all good, but it stuck
Frankly,
with
I,
me.
I used I used GNOME more than KDE.
Yeah,
I
you
used
know.
KDE back in the early 2000s a lot
Yeah.
because it reminded me on Windows. Yeah, but usability, productivity, and so on and so forth. And then I figured I want to have something different, and that was where I started looking into Ubuntu and used their what was it? Not GNOME. They had their own window manager back then. Um, Never mind, it's dead. And then I used GNOME, and I really like the GNOME, paradigm. Um, but nonetheless, I'm totally on your side. KDE looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it just
it's
for me,
eye candy.
as a native KDE user, it was really, it was always cool because, as you mentioned, it was kind of like Windows, like Microsoft. Um, and at some point, I just remember, I read that because we were one of the few distros kind of left really building our foundation on KDE as
I know,
a
I know, I know.
desktop in the SUSE world. And I read this release that they're using the Qt framework with Plasma 5. And that was, I installed it and it was just boom, it was in my face. It was like, wow, I didn't know, that they could one up that one, because a
But
desktop is a
frankly,
desktop.
even KDE 3 back then, that was eye candy. That was pure eye candy. The problem I always had and still have with KDE is, first of all, it's a little bit cluttered, but you get used to that. And the second thing is, many applications do not live up to the standards of KDE, and that is really frustrating and disappointing. If you, for example, look into a business-centric ecosystem where you perhaps want to have a replacement to Outlook. You end up trying to use Evolution.
You try.
I tried it several times, and from my perspective, it's pretty close to Lotus Notes, which is from a usability perspective and from a performance perspective and from a customizability perspective, a beep in the beep.
But that's also that's past. But it doesn't matter anymore because everything comes from my browser. As long as they give me a working browser, I'm good with that. I don't know.
No. We are running into very dangerous territory. Do you really want to do everything on your browser?
Sure. Why not? It's actually not do I want to, I do.
Yeah. But no.
I mean, it's either an app or it's in my browser because that's all I do. I mean, my work productivity tools are at home in the browser. I watch movies on Netflix, on YouTube, Amazon Prime.
In that regard, I'm totally with you. But if you want to really work a little bit more in depth with the things,
then install a Linux machine on a cloud and SSH into that biatch.
Yeah. I'm a soft egg. Call me Microsoft user.
No, you're just a little old school, and that's okay. The world needs people like you.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah. Why?
I don't believe you.
Why don't you believe me?
That sounds like a teenager talking to his granddad, who is basically just laying on his deathbed.
Because let's get serious just for one teeny tiny moment.
Why should we?
Because my blatant ignorance saying like everything that I do comes from a browser still, as mentioned, comes from a server, and that still, as mentioned, is a PC with an operating system on it. And unless we invent some kind of robots and an ultra automation that the server actually physically appears, gets connected, and installs itself, we definitely need people who know that there's more than the layer browser. And so, yeah. Cloudical, sponsoring open.clouds.dev 2.
There's a second show? Wait. No, but my point in that regard, is again one of the points that I like to bring out. If everything is on a server, you better be in control of the server.
Yes.
And that is basically where I'm a little bit skeptical at the moment, because it's mostly not. Most of the stuff runs on Microsoft 365, on Google Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, that brings me to the point where I say I want to have it more local, at least in an environment that I have under control, where I know who and what and which kind of infrastructure is interacting with each other.
This is becoming a huge problem. Because
is it?
I
mean, yeah, that kind of cheap cloud stuff is commodity, unfortunately. Because from my perspective, it is it's a sweet death. It makes you stupid because you forget about what is going on behind the scenes. It makes you lazy because you outsource everything, and ultimately, makes you dependent.
It's like automatically driving cars. You're passing on your actual responsibility to a machine. But the problem is actually a different one, and it's one that's growing today. I had this awesome conversation with a company called Aquasec, And
We're
when I
talking to them
first
as well. Awesome company.
saw an email from them, I was like, oh man, again, security and fuck, is this spam or what's it about? But then I jumped on a call with those guys, and what they really, really realistically showed me, and I had never thought about that so much, was with cloud and with cloud computing, what a lot of the computer experts, the CEOs, CTOs, whoever it is, the operators of this world do, is they say, hey, I'm purchasing a service, and with that I'm purchasing all my security needs that I could ever have. And that's just so wrong. It's so untrue. What you're purchasing and what might be secure for you is the actual infrastructure that they're providing to you as a service. Yeah. But your apps, your databases, your user data, the way the software works that you're putting onto that cloud infrastructure is absolutely your problem and your responsibility. And it is something that, we'll have to see how bad it gets, how bad it actually gets, because I wasn't thinking about this. I've never thought about the fact that now that I'm using, for example, what's it called, Outlook 365 to send my emails, that I might want to think about sending confidential data via that channel because it's being pumped through a cloud.
GDPR, for example, which is targeting the same kind of direction. The point is, and that's my point as well, you need to get and become the owner again of your data, of the ecosystem, of the infrastructure. I just had please allow me for that. I just had a conversation last week with a very, very, very valued, I really love that guy, architect from Microsoft. He's such a bright mind, awesome guy, really awesome. And he just said, yeah, why don't you trust Microsoft? Because Microsoft is amongst the biggest contributors to open source. Microsoft runs a certified and audited environment and so on and so forth. Why don't you trust them? And I said, look, I just don't trust them because it is not transparent what is going on. I tried to use a picture there in regard, for example, to the cloud environment. You have several layers on your cloud environment, right? Mm-hmm. Be it VMs, be it storage, be it whatever. Mm-hmm. And I want those layers to be made of glass. So I can put them on top of each other. And yeah, I know about physics. Light will be broken. Forget it. But you can basically look through the whole stack and see the ground below it.
When light is broken, it makes beautiful rainbows.
I need to check the manual if I can mute that guy. No, but the point is, an environment such as Azure, and it's not just Azure, an environment such as Azure, as AWS, as Google Cloud, for example, although they contribute tons of stuff to the open source ecosystem, Kubernetes is heavily backed by Google. That makes me not trust them because in their stack, they don't have just glass. They have, I don't know, some concrete parts in it or some wooden parts in it. And the point is, it is enough that there is one layer of wooden stuff in it. You cannot see through it anymore. And you cannot see what's going on. And really, even if it's audited, even if the best auditors of the world go there and look into it and then just say, oh yeah, we've looked at it, awesome. No, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all because that's human, that's single humans, even if it's dozens. You know whom I trust?
Who do you trust?
Besides you.
Ah. Who else? The community.
Yeah,
yes,
really. Yeah, I'm really talking about community in that regard. I'm talking about, let's call it swarm intelligence. I'm talking about dozens, hundreds, thousands of independent individuals looking at stuff. And it's not enough to just outsource, to just open source parts of the thing. And you can even donate it to the biggest open source communities. That does not render your stack.
It's just so, it's really so very, very, very wrong to say just because I push out a certain amount, a certain quantity or something, to say I'm good at it, to say you can trust me, to, if I take, or if any big company has the budget, they can do whatever the hell they want on a quantity side, but that doesn't speak very largely for what quality, what trust level, whatever's in there. I love speaking in metaphors. So basically, one of the best metaphors I have for that is everybody knows Pablo Escobar, the biggest drug billionaire the world ever saw, and he built schools, he gave money, he donated money to his local community. He
Awesome guy.
even built, as stupid as it sounds, he built police stations. That was awesome. That was his
Sounds like
monetary
an awesome
power.
guy.
But
Because he did
that
good
didn't
things.
that didn't make him selling drugs and killing a lot of people and actually starting little wars in Latin America, private wars. That didn't make it any better. But he was also a guy who went out there and said, "Look at me, look at what I am doing with the money I have. I'm a good person. Trust me, believe me." That's why would you do that? And coming to the other topic of, should I maybe take the responsibility even for stuff that's in automated systems? We've had this for ages. People in the meantime ask the question, why does my plane need a pilot? Because that guy just gets in there and then the autopilot does the rest. Yeah, it does, but without the pilot, there's nobody to actually check the systems. And if shit hits the fan and something goes wrong, the plane will go down. And please keep this in mind, every IT operator out there. Just because you're paying money to an IT company doesn't mean that they're taking the responsibility and the security off your shoulders. It's your problem. It really is, because that's something I get really, really scared about, because I love using technology.
You can outsource workloads, you can outsource the management, but you still are responsible for that.
Use your brains, people.
Or call Cloudical, because we are Cloudical.
We are Cloudical. Yes.
We are Cloudical. Speaking of Pablo Escobar, and that's that's a nice end of the circle. We started with the phone, right?
Yes.
Some minutes ago. Pablo Escobar is dead. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
But his brother bought the rights of the name. And you can actually buy an Escobar phone. That's a folding phone, and that's just a Samsung Galaxy Fold, which they basically relabeled. And as you would imagine, it is largely scam, because it costs you like, what is it, 400, 500 bucks, which is like a third of the original product. You have to pay upfront, and guess what never receives you? Unless you are a well-known YouTuber or a well-known reviewer, then you receive your device. If not, well, no.
Tough buttons, huh?
The point is, the two of us, we are working on becoming very well-known YouTubers. So I feel like we should check that phone out, right? They should say no.
Well, that's something for your one of your other cast formats. Because hardware is so
And
awfully
now
nice.
let's perhaps get back for a second to that one, to the PinePhone.
Yes.
And why I feel like this one is pretty important. And I'm outing myself. I'm usually the one looking for the best. This one is an OnePlus 8 Pro. This one is an iPhone 11 Pro. This one is a Huawei P40 Pro. You get the point? It's always, to some extent, the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
And looking at the specs of this, I'd even say it's perhaps not a phone. Looking at the specs of this device, it has an capacitive touchscreen, not even AMOLED. It's an LCD. It has what has it? An all-winner A64 chipset with a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz ARM Cortex A53 CPU, which is, you don't need to be an expert Slow. It has 16 gigabytes of memory, 2 gigabytes of RAM. It has a single 5 megapixel shooter on the back and a 2 megapixel shooter on the front. It has a mono speaker. And you know what? I'm still considering buying this one.
It's only $149, which is cheap for a phone.
Yeah, forget it. It's good. Don't get me wrong. The price is okay for that. But the point is why I would consider buying it is because of we are so trapped into ecosystems. Because what we see with Apple and with Google Android, even if I'm running a Huawei P40 Pro, which is not running Google services but still Android, you are actually, in regard to the phones, you are actually already in a situation that we are going to approach with clouds if we don't take care. You just have a duopoly.
I think there's also a deeper idea or a deeper meaning behind what they are doing there, because coming from us too, we're privileged European white people. We have jobs, we have a house to live in, we can afford a lot of stuff. So basically when we go to the store, we can say, I want this phone, that phone, this spec, that spec. But we are only a very, very small percentile of this planet. There's a lot more people, and there's a lot more countries, and there's a lot more places where general availability of digital media, of internet, of the things we live and thrive with every day aren't available. And with projects like this saying like, okay, if thinking of third world countries somewhere in Africa, they can't afford a Google license. They can't afford to buy Microsoft. They can't afford.
Let me put it that way. You
buy iPhone.
Get Android phones for the same price point. I totally get your point.
You can get an iPhone for the same price point. No kidding, no joking. But all the content that's going to be on the phone, every single app basically wants money from you that you don't have. And it's a whole system built on you buy, we'll give you the platform for cheap. Hey, I'm from the Linux business. I'll give you the platform for free. And then, if you need help, if you want to use it, then ding, 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 ding. Don't know where to call me, I'll hook you up.
That is exactly where I wanted to head with my saying as well. What I feel like is important is we need to get rid of the duopoly we currently have. And it is effectively a duopoly. It is iOS and Android. And yes, there are free Android distributions, aftermarket distributions such as Lineage OS, what's the other? Damn it, always forget about that. There are several ones, and you can install them even on current high-end devices and obviously on lower-end devices as well. And they are not backed by Google, Samsung, whoever. But the point is, they are still limiting us in what we can do with those devices. And that is basically the point I have with cloud ecosystems. Then again, you are trapped into vendor-specific ecosystems. You can paint them differently, but it's still vendor-specific ecosystems.
But it's really also the main problem with, it doesn't matter if we're talking Apple or if we're talking Google. Put your phone into flight mode and try using it. Nothing, and that's the economy behind it. Even software that I've downloaded will maybe start up, but the functionality is gone because it's heavily dependent on the internet connection and being connected to the servers of either Apple or Google. What the solution or why this open source telephone with Linux on it as an operating system is so interesting, because it's rolling back a bit. It's putting a local operating system onto your telephone that you probably can also use even if it's not connected. Yeah, of course it works. It's still going to be on, but you can use the calculator. I'm not sure if it will let you in flight mode, but I'm figuring that might be an app that you can use, because even the more simple apps, you without your internet connection, you can't phone because it's all going over voice over IP in the meantime. You might not know because you're paying money to your carrier to use the mobile phone network, but no, you're phoning over the internet. Your calendar, it will only sync and actually open and work if you're connected to the internet. It's all, and we need a solution behind that.
And the listeners on the podcast just wondered what is going on. On the one hand, I second you. On the other hand, your way of explaining it is a little bit too simple. Because most of the things you just said would be true for a Linux-based phone as well, because you need your internet connectivity, you need to approach your data. And that is my point. Nonetheless, I second you. That is my point. I feel like we need to have a choice, and we need to have something which is allowing us to make decision and to make a decision on our own. Perhaps I do not want to compile software on such a beast. Actually, I don't ever want to compile Linux software on any device because that's a pain in the ass. But that's not the point. I could do that. And I can switch my operating system here without any issues. It even supports dual boot. So I can basically have, that one is a post-market OS edition. If I'm not happy with post-market OS, I could install Sailfish OS, or I could install UBports, meaning Ubuntu. Or I could even try to install Geckolinux 152. I could do that. Would perhaps not make sense, but I could do that. And that is basically the point that I'm trying to make. Frankly, there are two hearts in my chest. I should perhaps have a surgery. But there are two hearts. The one heart is I do not want to fiddle around, really.
Yeah.
I'm too old for that. My lifespan is limited. On the one hand. And on the other hand, I want to be in control. So that's why I so desperately want Linux to become more ready for the desktop. And it won't ever happen because the Linux guys are geeks and nerds. And even if they are able to create awesomely looking desktops on the first sight, if you look closer, think of GIMP, for example. I love the GIMP project, but the software is, in regards to usability, a peep in the beep all the time. And that is, and the same would be true for a phone. Nonetheless, I'm going to order that one later on, perhaps not today, but over the next weeks, because I want to have Linux on my phone, even if I throw it in the bin a day later. I would.
That is not sustainable, Karsten.
Who says that my bin is getting to be emptied outside? I just throw everything into my bin. But the point is, again, and that's the same point as with Linux, that is the same point as with basically what we say in regard to communities and clouds. We need to have that choice. And in regard to, we talked about that browser-based stuff and problems there. The problem with that is you don't actually have the choice. It's Microsoft 365 or Google G Suite and perhaps some smaller offerings, but it's not mainstream. And that is a problem. That's a huge problem to me. Just wanted to say that. And I like the idea of having a Linux phone, although I'm going to poke around if I have it, because it will be a terrible device. It definitely will be. It will be. Period.
Yeah.
But we need to, both of us, no, that direction. No. Give me your finger. Give me your finger.
This is an intelligent webcast for intelligent. Oh.
Give me your finger a little bit higher.
What?
Ah!
So good. Oh, yeah.
We, the both of us, should be the ones buying this phone. The two of us.
Just the two of us. Well, no, but I'm actually I'm really happy with the telephone I have. And until that breaks, I'm not buying a new one. That's just my thing.
Not a problem, not a problem. I know where you live. We can arrange that.
No, it's just really I'm like I do use a lot. I do use a lot of phones because I constantly keep breaking them. But otherwise, I've never been a multi-phone user. I have exactly one, and that's kind of enough. I'm only one
I
person.
have also just one in my left hand. Still, just one in my left hand. Just one. One. No, that's not a phone.
So are you telling us just because you have many phones, we should trust you? You know,
Yes.
trust versus quantity?
Yes.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. But we touched a thing, and I wanted to talk to you about that as well. I know that you are already looking at your clock.
Oh no, I'm in full screen. I actually don't even know what time it is.
It's 2 minutes to 6 p.m.
Oh, really? Because that really didn't feel like an hour that we were talking already. Wow.
Yeah, it felt like 2 hours, right?
No, it just really, if you just had asked me how much time do you think we have left, I'd say, yeah, half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. It always, it feels awesome. This is our little zone. But oh
And
well,
we are totally alone. That's a good thing. Nobody watches, nobody listens.
I'm not so sure about that. I've been confronted with a couple of things we have said. People just
but
don't show it.
Christopher, you have been confronted by me. That doesn't count.
Please put back the other screen.
No.
'Cause that's
Who confronted you? Names?
it
Addresses? Telephone numbers?
was a bunch of
Are
people
they pretty?
from colleagues, just to different LinkedIn contacts. You're not getting a like, you're not seeing the view, but then they write a message to you saying like, well, just like the Microsoft guy stepped up to you and said like, hey, there's something that you said that wasn't quite
I
right.
provoked him.
What?
I provoked him.
Yeah, why not? That's fun. It's part of the game.
He knows where I live.
With bad personality, bad jokes, blah blah blah. Read the disclaimer. We're not. we're the evil.
Nobody
web.
told me that up front.
Well,
but
didn't you read our terms and conditions? Because you sure as hell signed them. So put back the other screen. That's something I care about personally. I care about this a lot. Communities in open source. Oh, that's our community. Ooh, fun. I helped build that. Zzz. You have a lot of practice in that, switching the window when your girlfriend comes in, huh? I know what you mean. But okay. Communities.
We don't want to talk about that. And she's real.
She is real.
I've seen her. I know that.
So yeah, communities. Why did you put this in there?
Because you told me to. No, I put it in there because that's what makes a difference. We touched that already a little bit when I was talking about trustworthiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like trust has a lot of has really a lot to do with communities, with community building, with basically, creating a community. I cannot put it differently. And one thing I learned is you need to earn trust. That's one thing. And the other thing is, and it's even harder, is you need to create a community, because you need to have likewise minded people around you. Basically, it doesn't matter which kind of community you are creating, whether it is a technical community or a political community or a shopping community. That doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter because when you are approaching a political community with your shopping bag, anyways, not that I did that.
I think
but the point is, and that's an honest point. The community is basically what enforces you to be transparent, and what is that is something which becomes more than just the sum of its parts. And so what I see here is then, for example, if I look at that SUSE developer community cloud page, Mr. SUSE Press Manager, there are things written like the power of many.
Yes.
And even if that is, forgive me to say that, even if that is just a marketing claim, or if it might just be a marketing claim, let me put it that way. Speaking of a community, it should be exactly that. And I thought like I want to talk about that a little bit, because you are basically working day in, day out, besides mobbing me, on creating a community. So what does that mean to you?
I mean, it means taking the next step, and it means so much more than just doing Linux and selling for SUSE or doing whatever. Because the question we asked ourselves is kind of, every company has some kind of community page. They're all saying we're open, we're transparent, we're this, we're that. But we don't really want to make a compromise, because what we did say is the power of many, and what stands behind the power of many. It should be the openness. It should be the connectedness. It should be the community where basically, people come together, people can help people can collaborate, people can talk about stuff. And if you just click through this page, that's the landing
tell
page.
Me where I shall click?
Anywhere you want, because everywhere you click, you'll get back to one of these three pillars. Open tools, yes, we're open source. Go to GitHub, download it. Strong community. If you go up to the top, you were on the forums page. Yeah, come talk to us. No problem. You can interact. I'm there. I'm a real person. You can talk to me. Ask me any question you want. Connected World is the cloud application platform which we are giving away for the account for free. Come and test our tools. When we do this, the actual slogan might be created by marketing, but
that's
otherwise,
that's an awesome guy contributing here to the forums by asking a question.
Oh, why didn't I block him? He's been very annoying. But joke aside, the thing that we're trying to get at there is really openness and community, and call it power of many, or call it whatever you want.
Is it a matter of size?
No, definitely not. I'm figuring a community has to be more than 2 people. Has to be at least 3 people. That's what I'm guessing. But it definitely is not about size, and that's exactly it. Because as we mentioned, the quantity says
in regard to quantity, eat more shit. Millions of flies can't be wrong. That's so much for size.
Yeah, but if I'm not a fly, but the instance creating the shit, it is there. It really might be about quantity.
No, but I just wanted to second your argument, because I feel like it's not about size. It's about the way you are interacting, and the way you are working with each other, and the way you are basically setting up things. It's not about whether it's 10, hundreds, or thousands of people. It's more about having an open, nonetheless secure place for interacting with each other.
Yeah, and if you, I mean, if you do go, if you maybe go back to the forums page, our forum, although we did rebuild it, and
It looks awesome, by the way.
it has a new design. Thank you very much. That's what I did. But if you press the home button, there is this forum, like right at the top. If you just press on home. This forum has been in existence for, I'd say, probably 15 years, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. And what we do have there is, we're not only talking about tech stuff. We have a whole thread called non-technical threads. And if you click into the non-technical threads part, you'll see what people are talking about. They talk about there's this great description that I saw. Where is it? I think, oh yeah, if you read, I can't because it's too small on my screen, but can you read the description for chatting over the back fence?
All fun and nothing serious. Just a place to hang out and swap stories with your fellow SUSE users. Have a fight with the spouse? Spend the evening here instead of in the doghouse. Yeah, but that makes me sad. I'm obviously not the only one having to spend the evening in a doghouse.
But what I'm getting at there is talking about community. Yes, the actual point that might bring us together here is SUSE, because it's the SUSE community. Makes sense, huh? But in a community,
the Red Hat community pages as well. I could do that, although my browser would be breaking down. But I could do that.
Yeah, and I've been to the Red Hat community, and actually, from a technical standpoint, it's a pretty smooth experience. But if you actually go into the actual content and have a look at that, yeah, they try to keep it as an extended marketing tool. What I'm getting at least as long as I'm responsible for building the community at SUSE, is leveraging the power of many and is activating people and is creating diversity and inclusion as a foundation, being open and fair as my ethos. And actually, that's the next awesome part that's going to come to our SUSE community, is actually the learning part. So a knowledge transfer, so the fairness, saying like, if you don't know about what I'm doing here, I'm very, very happy to teach you. And that for me, ties the whole thing together, saying open source is more than Linux and nerdy shit and technology. Open source is a lifestyle. Open source is humans.
Communities. I'm totally on your side. And that is then again something I wrote an article about. It's the headline might be a little bit... It's about trust versus usage, or perhaps better, trust versus amount of contributions. And that reference is pretty much the same thing that I was already talking about, that discussion with the fellow Microsoft guy. And again, I point out why I don't trust them, because, and that is the point, I don't trust Microsoft because of, that kind of not glass layers in between, and because there is no such thing as an independent community looking into the stuff. They just show what they want to show, right? They don't open source the thing. It's a matter of mindset. You can contribute as much as you want or as little as you want. The point is, it needs to be your mindset. It needs to be at the center of what you do. It does not need to be, and frankly, that's where it gets ridiculous for me, that you have your open source business unit or whatever. You either are open source and community driven or not. And being open source and community driven does not imply that you don't have a business model. Not at all. So you can have a very valid business model.
If you followed the history over the last decade of SUSE, it's pretty interesting what you just said there, because what we always were, and it didn't matter who we got merged into, who bought us, who purchased it, whatever. We were always the open source business unit, and open source it is a good business. We're making money, you know, and we were always kind of printing money for big corporations. But what we lost there very, very often was actually the credibility and the trust of the people, because they were saying, like, what the hell, you know? I remember when we merged with our last mother company before we gained our freedom back. What? Micro?
No?
Yeah, Micro Focus. So when we were part of Micro Focus, you know, Micro Focus is also, it's one of the foundations of modern IT, because Micro Focus have been around forever. They did anything COBOL. So basically, probably if you do an international bank transfer, get money, whatever, it's probably all based on some Micro Focus hard-coded script on a big mainframe. No problem. All good. But when we stepped up to the game, you know, or when Micro Focus acquired AttachedMate, they just, you know, integrated all of the parts of the AttachedMate business into their own brand. All the brand names were away. It's all called Micro Focus now. And what they kept around was SUSE, and was the SUSE brand. And what they tried to feign with that was saying, like, no, we are open. We have SUSE. You know, SUSE is part of SUSE is a Micro Focus
We are
business.
amongst the biggest contributors to open source projects.
Yeah, and you know that didn't fit anymore. And the great thing now, although SUSE is owned by a finance investor, which is called EQT, we're still free. We have our own freedom. EQT isn't going to put a manager in front of us and say, like, you have to do what we plan because you're just a business unit. But they say you're a business we invested in, and we'll be successful if you are successful. And we will expand and grow if you guys expand and grow. And SUSE is part of a fund that EQT has. So it's not only one company in there, but it's the open source fund. There's going to be more and more companies around that. And that's creating a community. That's creating a business network, a value-added network. And that's why, you know, we see a lot. SUSE is becoming a big player, and we're seeing so much media and press. And hey, greetings to Melissa. You know, she's a media person, and wow, amazing to see what she's doing. But they're coming from a lot of attention that you're driving to yourself is a lot of discussion behind it. But one thing that I can really state from being there long enough and having seen all the other different business models is, one of the things that isn't purely marketing is that we are, in the meantime, the largest privately held or privately owned open source company left out there. So that means we don't have censorship, we don't have the control that other companies have, and that's why we live for community. And the beautiful thing is, somebody picked me out to build this community, which is either really, really bad or the greatest idea. Give me another couple of months and then I'll tell you. Yeah, who knows, who knows?
I don't dare to be different, to be honest.
Oh, I do.
No, to you, I mean, because I don't dare to have a different opinion.
Why not?
Because you're so enthusiastic.
You are entitled to your opinion.
You are so convincing. But you know what? You know what? Now I tell you the truth.
Uh-oh.
Can you do some noise that basically supports it?
Oh yeah, I don't know what you're gonna say, but I'll make a noise.
I don't know, some dramatic noise. Okay, wait. Silence. 3 seconds. You are right.
Are you trying to tell me this was the last episode that we did because I was finally right? Oh man, I didn't know what's gonna happen today. Oh well, you know, it's just for me part of, you know, being open and open source and all this stuff I'm doing is my passion. Passion is an awesome driver. Going away from technology and all this other crap, be passionate about what you do. Kids, don't do drugs, be passionate.
Drink more milk.
Drink milk. No, it's actually it really is true, and I think you, as a person who owns his own company, has been down that road. Um,
Again,
you
I
know,
cannot even argue with you because you are right.
oh damn, twice in one show. Whew. Yeah,
What
yeah,
do you
yeah,
make out
yeah.
of that?
But you know, I think it's interesting because I do have the community conversation with a lot of different people from different angles, from developer to business person to my management, to whatever it is. And one thing I myself wasn't really sure about when I kind of started this project, started my new position, was how easy or hard, or generally, talking from a trust and credibility level, will it actually still be possible to kind of found our whole enterprise, our whole image, ethos, call it what you want, on open source and the openness and being open. And that's something I can definitely tell you, even now, only after a couple of weeks or months. Yes, we can. It is very, very well
You
possible.
screwed the moment.
Oh no.
I just wanted another dramatic noise before you said, yes, we can.
Why?
Isn't it?
Yes, we can. I loved Obama and his whole rally, and I liked him as president.
You know, get rid of Trump and make America great again.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I surely hope that that is a serious topic, but I surely hope this chapter of life will be over, because that's the weird thing
It
about a
has
guy
to,
like Trump.
because that guy is racist. That guy is I don't know, biased.
Even
That guy is
I even remember when Trump was starting to throw bombs around the world. I didn't it didn't hit home with me, and it didn't make me scared shitless like Trump being president did,
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's just, it's too near to reality. It's like saying the local drunk from the bar up the road will be our next chancellor. Where I would be like what the hell, you
Wait,
know.
is Söder sitting in the next bar?
Oh God, yes he is, because he's like from right around the corner where I live.
No, but to be honest, and I want to come back to open source, but again, I feel like it is strongly related with each other. That's the interesting thing. Open source, transparency, the principles of trusting people are the principles of building a community which is able to review, which is able to contribute. Perhaps you need to have some rules in place, blah, yada, yada, yada. That's not the point. But trusting people, and having that initial trust and keeping it over the times and over the years, having that mindset and silencing your phone, that is basically,
This is a product management calling.
they should call me, not you. Um, but having that is basically, from my perspective, actually the foundation for good decisions, be it in regard to technology, in regard to business, in regard to politics, perhaps, in regard to drinking more milk and less wine.
It's also very, very important, because we actually had this earlier on with a different topic, where we were saying, if you go buy cloud services, don't give away the responsibility. And it's the same with open source and community. It could be very, very easy to go into the very large mass of people doing something, saying, it wasn't my fault, it was all these people together, which might be true in a certain sense. But also there, it's down to the individual. It's down to me as a human being. It's every little piece and every little step and every little thought and idea and culture and way of life and whatever it might be. It's about you, and that's the beauty of it. we've talked so much about big corporations, small corporations, good software, bad software, all this crap. But it all comes down to you, and that's kind of where I find the beauty in open source and working with it, loving to use it, whatever it is, being part of a community, is really saying I am part, I am valuable. And as soon as you start feeling valuable, that's where trust starts, doesn't it?
Will we ever grow up?
No, I don't think so.
Not a second, right?
No, Hey, you know what I think is unfair, because last week in one of your webcasts, you had all these awesome questions that were asked.
You were the one watching it.
There was especially one individual who had really thought out and intelligent questions he was asking. I wish we had that here. Who do we need to pay for that? You know, where could we?
Shall I look for the questions that awesome individual wrote? Let me look them up. No, that's not the person. That was a real intelligent one. Okay, first question. Are IOPS made by Apple?
Yes, they are. It makes so much more sense in English now, doesn't it? You know, now that you're reading it in English, you're like, damn, that was an intelligent question. Are IOPS made by Apple? IOPS.
IOPS on my iMac.
No, they are not. IOPS is a way of measuring single-speed operations on blah, 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 blah.
Christopher, should we perhaps give a hint to the joke?
Yeah, do so.
IOPS on an iMac with an iPhone. Do you get it?
Ha, 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 ha.
Is that working with Linux?
What, IOPS? Yeah.
No,
sure.
it was the second question.
Oh, does that work with Linux? Yes, it does very much.
Okay. Are the eyes of Dom real? And now the bonus question, who is Dom? Ha!
It's just amazing. Have you seen that? Have you ever rewatched your own show? Because you do a lot of them. I could understand if you don't. Nobody has that much time. But have you seen this man's eyes? I don't know who his wife is, but she must be a happy person. You know, it's amazing. And I was figuring, you know, they might be computer.
Yeah,
What did I call it? Kubernetic eyes. That was actually really a question out of personal.
Shall I perhaps react the way I reacted in our internal chat? Okay, next question. When will the next album of Linus Torvalds be released?
It's so awesome, and you know what the hit single will be? Free Kernel.
And shall we cook those kernels in butter or in oil?
Just another joke that makes so much more sense in English, and it's always butter. No, you know, actually, being serious on popcorn and kernels for a while, do not do it in butter, because butter burns at really low temperatures, if you think about it. And oil can be heated to very high temperatures, and thus is the best choice for cooking your kernels. And otherwise, stick to GNU. The GNU license agreement.
I got it.
I'm proud. It only took you a week.
Was serverless developed by the VLAN guy?
Serverless, you know, and VLAN. LAN, because that, it doesn't make sense to say VLAN because it's a local area network which is held up by cables and routers and switches. And if it's virtual, it doesn't have that.
And the last question, that was the final question. Why 42?
Why 42?
Why 42?
I've heard so many a theory about that. Many a theory. Why 42? 4 divided by 2 is 2 divided by 2 is 1 divided by 2 is 0.5 divided by 2. And that just shows how infinite things are. And the world, the universe, and my energy are also infinite. That's why 42.
Are you done?
Well, that was the last question, wasn't it? So yeah, I guess I'm done. Is there a question you would like to ask? Something that always interested you? I told you open source is about knowledge transfer. Maybe I can help you out here. My middle name is Alan.
Things I never wanted to know. What's your first name?
Christopher.
Awesome.
Christopher. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I really like that.
Yeah, but still, if you have a question, you can ask it.
With one L or two L's?
With one. That is very important. Oh yeah. Mm. I actually, kudos to my parents, I guess, because I really love that. Christopher.
It's a nice name. It's a nice name.
Yeah.
And
I
the
even
spelling
have
is
a
nice.
reference. I even have a reference to it on my arm, which is awesome Christopher Allen Branston. Awesome,
Yeah,
huh?
it is. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would have understood the first A as amazing, but okay. I can live with ACAB, meaning awesome Christopher Allen Branston.
And if that doesn't float your boat, it can still mean all colors are beautiful. One of my life mottos.
Absolutely.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Absolutely.
Ah,
Chris.
yeah. Oh, now I see it because I see what's on your screen. It's been 1 hour and 27 minutes. Oh man.
Is there
Time
something we
flies
can
when
do?
you have.
Is there something we can do to make it reach 1 hour and 30 minutes? We could be silent for 2 minutes. You could sing something for me. Oh no. You know who is missing again?
Friederike.
And shall I tell you what she's doing?
Enjoying life?
No. Why should she?
She's not
Looking for
like
Cloud
us.
Report.
She knows how this thing called life works.
She's looking
She's
for
not
a
a.
Cloud Report? Why
Oh,
should she?
she's working for the Cloud Report.
Yeah, you know what she's currently doing? Other than just watching Netflix, but what she's working at work, what she's doing at work.
No, what is going to be the topic for the next
Cloud
Cloud
Report. No, that's a secret.
Secret.
But
Secret.
there is something coming up, and I can show you a little hint. Today is hint day. If we open the website of the Cloud Report, the Cloud Report.
See, it sticks with you, right? It sticks with you. If you do it often enough, it sticks with you.
It's currently visible.
KubeCon. You know what the great thing about KubeCon is going to be? On the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, when KubeCon Virtual is going to be held, from 12 until 3:30 in the afternoon, you can come to the SUSE Virtual booth and have a chat with me.
Or you can come to the Cloud Report virtual booth, because she's currently preparing that, and have a chat with me.
Oh, and I'm going to ask a lot of stupid questions at the Cloudical booth. And you'll never know it's me because it's the internet that I'm going to be using.
Yeah, but the opening hours for my availability are like 12 to 2:30.
12.
Monday to Wednesday.
Wow. You know that there are companies out there that just don't care.
Absolutely not. Perhaps we should.
It's going to be great if you want a guest feature at your booth. You know, as mentioned, I'm only part-time at the SUSE booth, and Thursday I'm at no booth at all. So please feel free to reach out to my secretary to arrange maybe a guest booth guide.
I'm going to talk to Melissa. You know, I need her.
That's kind of the new story of my life. I couldn't. This is not a joke, because one of the most heard things is, well, that's grand of you, Christopher. I value your opinion, but I rather talk to Melissa.
Think of it.
It's okay. You know, I know. When my game's just up, because, you know, compared the way we look, Melissa's more beautiful. Compared the way we talk, Melissa is awesome, rhetorical. She knows what she's saying, how to articulate herself. She doesn't cuss like I do, you know. So yeah, she's also a lot more knowledgeable. So what am I gonna do about that? You know, it's,
you know, you talk to me, and I feel like that pretty much wraps it up for today.
Yes. So as mentioned,
if you don't, you know, if your life is pointless, talk to me.
Yes. So, dear viewers, please come see me at the Cloudical booth. I shall be telling you how this computer stuff is done right.
Dear listeners, please come and visit me at the SUSE booth, because I'm taking over Chris Branson's seat.
Oh, an exchange program. Ooh, you know, the thing is, if you mess that one up, you know, it's just, I'll have to find a new job, no problem. If I mess that one up, who knows? You know, a lot of people might lose their job. So yeah, but I think I'd be a quite okay-ish CEO.
At least you look awesome.
At least, you know, I tried.
No. You look awesome.
Yes, I'm figuring that's, you know, let's dare to be different. Give me another 10 years and maybe we'll find tattooed bald guys in C-level ranks. No.
If you want to comment on that, use Twitter.
Or if you have a job as CEO, please, you know.
I have fun.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I'll start.
Are you looking at my job?
No, because that would imply I need to buy about 8 telephones and not have a lot of social life, so. The Cloud Report, sponsoring open.clouds.dev.
Bye.
Oh yeah, but maybe. Oh yeah, you said the singing at the beginning, right? I had to do it better. The Cloud Report, sponsoring open.clouds.dev, a show with fun, humor, personality, and awesome technological stuff.
And me.
And Karsten.
Bye.
Well, dear world, please like, subscribe, give us comments, tell us we were rude. Karsten will surely publish a blog if you do. And enjoy. Have a great week.
I'm depressed now. Perhaps I should call her. See you later.